in the next coming years of being proactive. I'm not a violent person. I'm not encouraging anything of a negative or hurtful or even infringing on people's rights type of actions. I'm encouraging people that we have rights. We need to start learning them. It sucks. It's a little boring, but because we don't know it, because we're in ignorance, we have people who are willing to control us and fuck with our reality because they know how they can screw with our rights. And then it's like these documents are so important that, it's what our whole like supposed government is based around. And I don't know, I just feel like right now it's like we're about to slip into a new management of control, a new era. And it's like, this is I only care about this now. I'll never be like this, like 20-year long, like truther, like humping the same like old thing that I mantra repeat every day. But this is something that is going to change soon enough. This is the only time it's going to happen in our lives. Like this is like the big thing, the big event, the big war, the big whatever of our lifetime, right? And so, I mean, it's worth our attention. Maybe it wasn't worth it being into politics and all this bullshit when we were in our teens or 20s, but like, the world is having a fundamentally big change happen on many levels. And like, if we don't proactively say we the people are going to stand here and we want our rights and we're done, and whether it's a boycott or whatever, it's written into our, these great documents that we have, that it's our responsibility to stand up to, organize crime and whatever it is, it's like taking over our government and committing genocide in our name and all this. And so it's like, I'm not a political person, but I feel like I have to be right now. And I just have to at least say it and like, just put it out there. I know you guys want truth as well, so that's why I bring it up in this space. But thanks for letting me talk, man. I appreciate your rooms, man.
I have something to say to that. I think that we already won, right? We already won. We figured out that we're not on a spinning ball. At least that we already won that. Getting everybody to realize that, if that were something that we were like just personally or whatever, this small group or if that was our goal, they would find some way to stop it. Unless they want that to happen, like I was saying, with like using it against us. If they had to adopt it, they would adopt it. I think they are trying to incite revolution and trying to make us act out, right? Make us act a fool, because then they could use that against us as well. I'm not saying there's no hope. I'm just saying on a small level, we've already won. And that's pretty much the capacity that each of us has to affect the world and the rest of our lives and the people around us. Trying to change the whole world or demanding things with boycotts and any kind of violence and all that, they love that, because then they can react to that and persecute people. In fact, they'll probably stage a revolution and it'll all be fake, and we'll think that there was some kind of revolution that was thwarted, just so that, if they were ever really threatened by that, they would just have like a fake one, and then everyone will think there's no hope, right? So if you're in control of most of the media, including most of the alternative media, you can influence anything you want, but they can't stop us from influencing our small communities or our own lives and finding solutions that are now in our grasp, realizing that our whole environment's not what they were telling us, right? So I would say stay cool, man. Things aren't that bad. It's a bright future if you want it to be.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. I specifically chose words like non-violent, not insane.
No, I didn't think you were saying that. I'm not even trying to say anything about what you're saying in particular, other than that they will probably try to infiltrate anything that you were getting on a mass level to happen. They would be like, great, go ahead and do it. We'll use it to our advantage.
I'm just saying that our rights are being taken away from us slowly, incrementally. It's what David Icke, for example, would say, the totalitarian tiptoe. It's this thing where like we're slowly being pushed into a communist state, and like we're it's like the boiling frog. Like we're not noticing it because it's not abrupt. It's so slow and gradual that we're not reacting to it. And like right now, we should be we should have been reacting back when we had a bunch of governments collude together to control population, which the only way you can control population is the obvious, to reduce it. So like that's a real thing. There's documents stating this. That's why I'm just saying, like, we've just been kind of numb to this, or we're just so. I believe a lot of this is cult behavior. A lot of us have just had, we're suffering from the thing where we've fallen in love with being persecuted. You know, we have like that I forget what the term is right now, but where you're in love with your captor. You know,
right?
You yearn the abuse, or you long for the abuse, and I'm just saying it doesn't have to be
the
like
syndrome. I forget the name of it too.
Yeah,
everything you're saying is right, and that's true. But I always ask, if someone says that, you know, there has to be something done, what would be like the most ideal way for that to play out in your mind? Like, say it just went like the best you could possibly plan, and it happened. What would be effective, you think?
The big thing for me is that we have extensive evidence of our government agencies and our intelligence agencies being involved in human trafficking. And that fundamentally is the core problem that leads to everything I'm talking about, right? Like that's the main thing, is the corruption that we have going on within our government, where it's like it's gotten to all the top of all the totem poles, like all the compartmentalization hasn't stopped it. In fact, it's made it so that in those places of power, in those top tiers, there's a gatekeeper. And if you're not part of them, if you're not part of their club, meaning the gross shit of whatever they're into, pedophilia, Satanism, whatever, if you're not into that and they don't get blackmail on you, you're not allowed to cross that gate. So there's no way we can get good people in the very top tier of power, because those groups are now been infiltrated and now they've been taken over. And the whole Satanist type groups have like basically been gatekeepers, right? So good people can't get in. Only if you're in their club, and then they get blackmail of you being in their club, then you're allowed. Right. Then they can control you completely, right? That's what I'm.
So then, what would be the most successful plan to stop that?
Well, just like it's written in the Constitution, you know, like it's our duty that when we've seen that this has happened, that we the people need to act. Not a president, not Trump, not like any one man. It needs to be we the people that unite and say that we are not going to put up with this anymore. You know, and for me, it's as simple as, like, we're the ones in charge. As simple as just going in the office and saying, you guys got to leave. You know, we're hiring new people. You know, you're fired. And we implement like things that we have that can protect us, like blockchain technology, trustless systems, trustless contracts, things that we could do to where we start monitoring our public servants and they actually serve the public. And they're no longer allowed to be lobbied or bankrolled by big pharma or other, you know, corporations. You know, there's easy things that we could put in there. Easy stuff that would change the whole dynamic, change the game, you know, across the board. But they don't get implemented because corrupt people know that it would end what they're trying to be, what they're doing, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. It's a good thing to be, you know, to say there's no hope, or to say that, like, you know, if nothing can be done. They do seem to have some people that are saying things that I'm surprised. Like, what's her name? Candace Owens or whatever.
That's not the no hope thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm very positive about the thing. We could easily.
No, I'm saying for me to say that. I'm not trying to say there's no hope. Oh. Like what you're saying, I'm not trying to put it down or any of that. I'm just trying to figure out what would be actually possible, because it kind of relies on the system not being corrupt for it to actually work the way you're talking about. Like we would have a say in who's you know, going to run the place. You know,
basically we've let intelligence agencies be the ones in charge. We didn't police them, and now it's like they've gotten out of control. Kind of like a bad parent that has that child that's now like the brat child, gets what they want, calls all the shots, bosses you around. You know, parents are just like powerless to the child. It's like kind of my metaphor for us with the intelligence agencies, you know, with our federal institutions, right? You know, it's just like they've overreached. And we just now are in fear because they even punish us, our own, you know, their own citizens. And like we've gotten to such a bad place. That's why I'm saying we have Stockholm syndrome, because it seems like people
Stockholm syndrome, yeah.
You know.
Yep. I say speak the truth. That's the one thing that we're doing right now. At least it's like been flat Earth. Like I think we've won, and also in the sense that we just normalized the conversation now. They could never start, putting out thought police or making it a crime to talk about flat Earth because it's gone too far already. It's already over. They can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. There's no way to do that now because of people actually coming together and talking it out and doing, because if they take the right for us to even talk, speak our mind and, have an honest conversation about the very reality we're living in, then we really lost, right? They can't do that now. We won. We already won. That's the way I see it. Not to say that's all we need to do, but yeah, speaking the truth, seeking the truth. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it sucks because the only thing that this what I'm talking about really fits into as far as the category is political, and like that's the one thing we all know is no one wants to talk about politics and stuff because we know it's corrupt. Everybody can see that even from a young age, so it's like it's this bleak category that people just ignore and say, oh, we can't change it, we can't do anything about it. But really, if we change the game completely, that would be fundamentally the thing that would change it, right? If we have crooked judges in the Supreme Court and we know ultimately that everybody has a number and everybody can be bought or blackmailed, well, then we need to use what we have with technology and change that dynamic, and then it takes we the people recognizing that there's no civil war needed, there's no violence needed or anything. It's like we are in charge. If we could be united, if people could start looking at each other as being the same, that we're all just here wanting to be humanity free and actually have freedom of speech, that alone would change the game. If we just had actual freedom of speech, imagine how everything would change just in like 1 year's time, in 6 months' time, right? Like if every single platform or public platform actually respected freedom of speech, we honestly had it, I think that would change the game completely just in itself.
Oh yeah, it would. That's the last thing they'll allow, though. All right.
It's really sad when we say that, though, right? Like that saddens me to say, like, oh yeah, but we don't have that. When that is what we're supposed to have here, is freedom, and we did have it. Like we did have it, but now there's people who have infiltrated and taken control, and trying to control and manipulate. They've done that? They've been able to muzzle everybody. Yeah, it's like
But then again, like right now, we are able to talk, right? Honestly, in this platform, at least for now, and the success is that this conversation has been normalized to the point where there's no turning back. And I'd say that on a small level, we can all do all those kinds of things, right? We're not going to change the bigger picture unless they want that to be like, what we think we did, because they have, we've been conquered, man. There's like a world power. There's no countries, there's no border lines. It's all already controlled by some, unknowable type group, right? But at the same time, I think they do allow us to see the truth. Almost, I don't know. I'd like to think that maybe it's
they're transparent.
Like they give the thinking man the out. Yeah, they do it in plain sight for maybe only just to mock us, But at the same time, there's lots of technology and things that we could probably implement for our own use in small communities that would give us the more of a, that kind of utopia type situation, or a better situation that we could defend ourselves with locally.
And I know there's a fear of this. There's a fear of free speech because I'm nobody. I'm a nobody. Like half you people don't even know who I am talking right now. And it's like my rooms are severely shadow banned. Like I only get the same core group of people. And if people do come in, they get pulled out, like whoop, or they like disappear. And it's like I've had conversations with people that were really, really wanting to talk about something, and they reset their mic because the audio mysteriously doesn't work, and I've never seen them again. Like never. And it's happened.
Oh, and even worse than that, have you heard of J-Trig? There's J-Trig and all that too. If they really wanted to get like mean about it, they could have people do all kinds of shit, right? post stuff that you didn't post with your name on it and start sending, like personally just ruin your life if they really wanted to, if you were effective enough that it could do that. Not to say that it's hopeless, but that they do have something called JTRIG. Just look it up.
And it does get to that for a lot of people like that. A lot of influencers or people who get enough attention or trying to talk about something, you know.
Mm-hmm. But flat Earth is allowed. You know, flat Earth is not something that they're censoring completely. So it's on the table for whatever reason. It's either because, you know, it's just too hard to contain, or like I say, I think they might try to like absorb it for their own nefarious reasons at some point, because it's already too late. It's over. The debates are over.
I don't think the powers that should not be are that threatened by it, because I think it's something they've been able to control for so long. They can easily just make it, snap their fingers, and just make everyone look ridiculous or whatever. You know, whatever it is that they've indoctrinated us so well with it. You know.
Well, I hope they don't. I hope flat Earth is never in the mainstream, because then that means that they're going to use it, right? Like, ironically, it's like the last thing we probably want, because then they'll have like, you know, flat Earth taco stands and like outer ponder psyops and all kinds of shit that they could use that to their advantage. Reagan said it, you know, Reagan said, wouldn't it be, you know, something for us to all unite over if there was some kind of outside threat, right? And then there's other people that have been saying it. It's like the narrative fits right into that, surprisingly, ironically. They may actually tell us it's flat and then say, well, now, you know, because of these flat earthers, now this is going to happen, you know, or whatever. Like, I don't want anything to do with controlling those people or having anything to do with replacing those people. Those people, we want to stay as far away as possible and still make change. But if we start putting our hands in their pot and saying, this is how it's got to be, they'll be like, great, you get in this pot. We're gonna totally manipulate you now, and then either make a, you know, martyr out of you, or make it seem like your fault, or, you know. But if they really wanted to get rid of flat Earth, they probably could have done it and should have done it a long time ago, like right when it started, like 2015 or whatever. But they didn't, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think you're right. It could be, you know, like the manipulation is really like, it's really good, right? And so
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at 9/11 alone, you can tell like these people aren't amateur about how to control, you know, like an entire like operation, in fact. So it's, people act like, oh, it's impossible. How could a government? But no, it's really not that hard. It's called compartmentalization, right? It's really not that hard to control the truth of something.
Non-disclosure agreements, that pretty much takes care of it.
I think this might be something that will be used against somebody, and somehow, or they are going to flip the script and make it look like people of this conversation are insane, out of their minds. You know, I mean, it already is kind of a bunch of flat earthers. It's like, oh, you guys are just idiots. It's like spoken by.
I think it's too late.
You know? The
paradigm's already shifted. It's just that most people haven't found out yet. For us, the paradigm's already shifted. You can't unshift the paradigm. And there's lots of people, like the rich people, like the people that have all the time in their hands to watch the YouTube videos that we've all seen. They all know already. Anybody that's got time and like awareness and common sense, they already know. Maybe they don't talk about it. Like Dave Weiss was talking to us about this, like, you know, a couple of years ago. He said there was an after party for the Oscars, and he said all the stars there were talking about flat Earth. They all know. So if all the stars and anybody paying attention already knows, you can't just like all of a sudden make the straw man out of it that just the dumb people buy into. I mean, they could do that, but it's we're just going to be laughing at that. So go ahead.
Like Freemasonry, everything that's all about like their ancient texts and whatever, like it's all flat Earth shit. Like, like they more than acknowledge it. They specifically about it, you know.
That's the right angle and the compass and the, you know, that's those flat Earth tools. Yeah.
That's like showing that whole like that plane and then something projecting through it, you know, like, which I think might be a big part of what the moon is. The moon is a hologram or something. It has a refresh ring, right? It has a refresh or recycle, phenomenon. And it was a Freemason years ago that told me about that. And that's the same gentleman that told me about Dr. John Dee, and like his renewed contract that he's had for the trade of humanity for technology, right? The trade of us, literally our blood, our physical beings, with something in trade for technology, right? And like I think a lot of people automatically go, "Oh, it's outer spacemen," but do people really think about how we've had past advanced civilizations here? And so, like, we could just be talking about a chimera or something that's from genetic manipulation, right? Like the lizard people or the reptilians. I think that's just old chimera, fuckery stuff that we built and designed with genetics, right? And they've just been here, and we've just been here, and everything's been just developing and moving forward. And it's like we have like, if you look at the bent pyramid and the vases and the 40,000 vases, plates, and all that shit they found at the bottom of that shit, it's like it's beyond what we can do right now, right? And so somebody had that technology, and that's pre-dynastic. So we definitely had old, very advanced civilizations here, and they're probably humanoid or human or what have you.
Yeah, ancient ancestors. Yeah, it seems like that's the reason that they reversed everything, because that they wanted that knowledge to go away. Part of it, for sure. Yeah.
And that is actually, I think that's actually like linked with ether, because with ether you have like free energy, like no space, curvature of space time, anything, like that Earth is stationary, everything with ether. With ether, like there's a connection with like a physical realm and like that higher power or whatever. I honestly think like for me, like the creator is ether. My guess is like we are like all. That's just my point of view, but I think like we are all come from ether, and ether is everything, and like ether is even like unity, and like I don't know, higher mind. I would say like
For sure.
for me ether is like the creator or something like that. So that's the reason I think that they want to hide ether, for free energy, for all this stuff, because with ether you have the connection with everything.
Yep, I agree with that for sure. And that's not something we need to everybody. I mean, they have all kinds of ways of justifying it, I'm sure. And maybe even if we heard their reasons, we might not be able to even argue with it, because we don't know for sure what happened. They could say that the ether had to be hidden because it gives people the power. Like I guess Tesla was said to have collapsed a building from a frequency. Right. So if you have one man able to collapse a building with a frequency from knowing about this kind of tech, they could say, oh, well, we can't have that, available to everybody because it's a threat to the civilization. And to some degree, that might be true.
It's about control, right? Like that, exactly what you're saying. They can control how strong or how powerful any one person could be. Like, just like how we don't have the ability to use our third eye. Again, it's control, right? And
absolutely,
money would be second in line, but they go hand in hand. Control of information and money.
Yep. But getting everybody that information, I don't necessarily think is like the thing that makes us win or lose. Like I was saying, like I think a lot of people, it's not fair because they've dumbed us down on purpose. But I don't think a lot of people can handle this, right? A lot of people just can't, or they'll act a fool, or some people would be like, stupid about whatever power they have, So it's a very interesting and special time for people that have figured it out this early. And maybe we could do something with it on a small level that would be mind blowing, regardless of who sees it. Getting the whole world to see this isn't necessarily a win for us, in my mind. Because if that happens, that may be what they want. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it is possible. That's something to consider.
They have plan B, plan C, plan D, I'm sure, right? They have like whiteboards all over the place with think tanks beyond our imagination of all the scenarios. probably the one that they want. Not it's going to happen, to some degree. But life isn't that bad. I mean, the fact that we're talking to each other across the world right now, that's amazing.
No, life is good.
And this conversation's been great. Yeah.
It's not like life's terrible, and that's why we need to
Yeah.
do this. It's more like we need to keep at the helm. We no longer can fall asleep and trust in, it's all about a constant trusting and verifying process from here forward. It's like from now on, I know that when I have children, like when they go to school, that I have to keep tabs on what's going on there. That institution or the people teaching there could be corrupt or whatever. Or even if I want to even consider, like I wouldn't even at this point even send my kids to a public school system personally. But
oh yeah, and you have to when they're born, you have to take great efforts just to make sure they don't get poked. They'll try to take it in another room and poke it without you knowing. From what I hear, like you just have the vaccines are huge. Like that's the thing. Putting all these shots in the babies, I think, has shortened our lifespan and probably shortened our limited our intelligence more so than we're aware, right? Collectively.
we're raised to be good little taxpayers, aren't we? Not to think outside the box.
Yeah, I think there's people out there though, kind of on that tip as well. They're trying to make us think that everything sucks and that we're slaves. I think you're only a slave if you see yourself as a slave, right? I know the system's corrupt. I know that the fiat system, the fiat money is a way of enslaving us in quotes, but we have opportunities that people 100 years ago never would have had. We have information that they couldn't even dream would be at their fingertips. So let's try to be positive, I guess, and we can do all kinds of stuff without it having to be like the whole world being aware of it or taking part in it. So yeah, are you on Discord, by the way? You should get on Discord. I'd like to talk with you more sometime.
Yeah, if you have a link or something that I don't use it, I've set it up. I don't know why I haven't used it much.
I know there's a lot of people that are missing out on Discord. That's all I'm saying. Get on Discord because there's so many different places to go with lots of information.
Right, like as I understand it, like you get to like know where to go, right? Like to be going to a certain server.
Well, I'll send you all the links to the cool rooms if you get on there. I'll give you my handle. Yeah.
Right on.
That's where the Ether boys hang out. Ether Cosmology. Sacred's in there. I think it's the best platform as far as like just being able to like socially run all over the place and talk to different people and get information and post information. Twitter's a little bit sketchy and a little bit too public and also a little bit glitchy. But I mean, not that you have to have only one.
Yeah, it is. And I feel bad. I feel like we're keeping our host open here.
Yeah. They wanted to end a long time ago. They probably went to sleep.
Sorry, you guys. Thanks for letting us chat and manhandle your face.
I did post a song. Shane made an AI song of some lyrics. I said if you guys do want to have a song to take everybody out, it would be a good way to end if you want. I don't know if you have something else planned, but thanks for letting me talk to you.
No problem. It's good having you guys. Yeah, we were pretty much letting you guys close out the conversation before we let everybody know what upcoming events might be going on or what to look out for.
Thanks for putting on a great room.
Of course. 106 episodes. We do take suggestions, so if there is a topic or an event or something in particular that you guys seen or saw or research that you want us to talk about, definitely leave those suggestions in the Purple Pill or even in the DM. You guys can DM me or Sacred and let us know what ideas you might have floating around. We do host / moderate debates, so if you know somebody that you want to debate, primarily Flat Earth, I think we might change that, but yeah, if you got somebody you want to debate, somebody else wants to debate, whether you want to do it on a platform that's neutral or with a fair moderator, you guys can let us know as well. Comes with promotion and content, so that's fun.
Looks like our Czech friend has something else to say still. He's got his hand.
I don't see a hand, but yeah, jump in if you wanted to throw something else in there.
Could be my phone that's just keeping his hand up on my screen. I don't know.
Ooh, maybe. Wasn't Czechoslovakia?
Yeah,
Wasn't it Czechoslovakia and then now it's Czech Republic?
Yeah. We actually like when you talk about planned political events and revolution and things like that. Czechoslovakia was divided like unlawfully, and actually our first Czech president, whatever, he was seen in Davos with Schwab. So like 100% dividing Czechoslovakia on Czech Republic and Slovakia Republic was intentional and was done by globalists, for 100% sure.
By the way, I don't want to make you extend the show any further, but I do see that Flat Earth Dave is listening. I don't know how long he's been there. If he wants to come up to say anything, but I always like to hear from him. What's up, Dave? If he wants to come up and talk at all, I don't know.
I feel like it got changed like recently. I don't know. Yeah, shout out to Dave down there. We keep him up at night. We deprive him of sleep.
Dave Weiss in the house. You always say you're going to end, and then it ends up going way into Saturday. I don't know if how serious to take it when you say you're going to end the show anymore.
No, that's our margin of error. We give y'all like a 30-minute margin of error to come up, get your thought out completely, say what you gotta say.
Dave Weiss, you want to talk it all night today, this morning? I think he's just getting up.
I'd keep going, so that's why I try to shut myself up.
You definitely woke Dave up. We'll let him say goodnight or good morning.
Actually, Dave, there's somebody on the panel that was talking about your gyroscope experiment, and wanted to know more details about it. And it has somebody that has money that wants to put something into a final type experiment that you were talking about. How you doing?
Hey, man. I don't have a whole lot to say. I've been listening. The gyro experiment, I don't even know a whole lot about it. It just seems very basic. But we just need to get the right gyro. Excuse me. Need to get the right gyro and get a flight. It's pretty basic. What did he want to know?
He was our Czech friend. I don't know. I think he might have just dropped, or he was trying to talk. Maybe he hung up on. Oh, there he is. He's still here. Oh, he's just listening. Anyway, yeah, he had somebody with some money that wanted to do some kind of final experiment, more like a push the line type thing. And he was also asking if anyone knew any more details about the gyroscope thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, here's my thoughts on the gyro. I mean, a gyro, for those of you that don't know, holds rigidity in space. So they fire a gyro up horizontal on the runway, and that tells you the orientation of the plane. I say fire it up vertically, align the disc of the gyro with east and west, and use that as your navigation. So you fire it up east and west while it's just sitting on the runway. Then the plane takes off and flies west. And to prove that the gyro is holding rigidity in space, your magnetic west will bear off to the right as you maintain your gyro direction. And that'll prove that it's working. It doesn't prove flat Earth or globe Earth because it's the same in the north. Whether you're on a ball or on a flat Earth, if you dead wreck in west and don't turn, west will bear off to the right because you're going around the north. That's pretty basic. So where it comes useful is in the south. If you do the same thing in the south, west will bear off to the left if the Earth is a globe, and it'll bear off to the right if the Earth is flat. It's pretty damn conclusive. You just have to verify that the gyro is working, and you do that by, the first test in the north, prove that it bears off, and then fly to the south, aligning your gyro north and south, and you can maintain that gyro north dead reckoning, and your compass will not drift, because lines of longitude, our north south lines, are the same on a flat Earth and a globe Earth. So that's like a double test right there. And then when you're in the south and you start going west or east, your west or east direction will veer off to the right, proving it's not a globe. Proving it's basic.
Yeah, I don't know how long you've been listening, but I said it's as basic as the fact that the planes, all pilots are taught to treat it as stationary. So if they fly towards the equator where it's a higher tangential velocity they have to land on, there is no way they could treat it as stationary, and there's no force to get them in perfect sync with the Earth being in a separate reference frame, and that's how simple it is. It's already over. It's over every single time a plane lands.
Yeah, the argument there is they say that, the atmosphere is spinning with the Earth and gravity. This doesn't question any of that. We're not questioning the movement of the Earth. We're showing that that it's flat. I mean, it just shows that everything, east and west are circles around the North Pole, not around the South Pole.
Yeah, the atmosphere spinning with the Earth doesn't even work, but yeah, you know that. But yeah, it's already good enough for me. But yeah, what you're saying would show for sure for people that are just convinced that somehow magic accelerates the plane to be in perfect sync with the new tangential velocity. I don't know how that even flies in anybody's skeptical book, but yeah, it's so over in so many ways, Dave. It's already been over forever. I was mentioning something you said about the Hollywood stars at a party talking about flat Earth. Like everyone pretty much there after
that was at the Emmys a couple of years ago. The Emmys or the Oscars, and they were talking about flat Earth. That was the hot topic in all the circles.
Yeah, I was saying to somebody, I don't think that if they tried to like straw man it with some kind of final experiment results or any kind of like trying to shut down flat Earth, it's too late already. I mean, like everybody already knows, that's anybody.
Yeah, the whole final experiment thing. People are making a huge big deal out of it, and flat earthers are freaking out also. And the main reason is, personally, I think this guy Will Duffy is a deceiver, a liar, and has an agenda. And
absolutely,
but his, the way he comes across, like, hey, you guys say there's a circling sun, let's go look. I'm all for that, getting more data, but there's no way they're going to let us see the sunset in Antarctica. So what are they going to do? Is there some reflection that we don't or are unaware about? Maybe. Is there?
Could they put a spotlight in a cloudy sky and make it seem like it's good enough for, flat Earth denying the sun or whatever? Yeah, do that.
That's it. Also, and then the whole thing. People talk about the sun simulator. That there's no way they can. When they hold it up with a helicopter. The stuff that they've already disclosed about electrostatic levitation, who knows? Maybe they can float that fucking thing up there. Maybe they can move it exactly where they want to move it. Maybe the thing that when they say the ISS transits the sun or the moon, maybe that is a Polar trick. I'm thinking it's just a plane flying, but maybe it is something that's held up electrostatically. I don't know.
Yeah, the confidence that they have, and that it's come from the baller, weird, chilly on the side of people that, this is the final test, but they already claim to have that evidence with these fake Anthony Powell videos. So are they admitting that those Anthony Powell videos were fake and that there's not good enough evidence already? Is that what they're admitting by having this new final test? I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, they obviously know there's no 24-hour sun, or we'd have plenty of footage by now. That's just common sense. Yeah. So why they have such confidence in trying to take people down there and spend money on it? Well, got to be something behind it. That's what I'm saying.
This guy Will, the guy comes out of nowhere. He just wants to solve the debate. He's a pastor. He's in huge financial trouble, and all of a sudden he's here doing this full time.
Yeah.
And his scripts, he's not doing this himself. Okay,
Yeah.
this is an effort. You know, I don't know if Mick Looney Tunes is involved or whatever, but this is a deception. The guy is, you know, listen, you got to trust your intuition. It's like people, you know, it's how you survive. Every bone in my body, every cell in my body says this guy is an evil piece of shit. Okay, that's me. That's me.
Absolutely. I
Right?
see. I say the same.
And there's other people that are
Well,
falling for his kindness and his, you know, and his rational thing. You know, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying any of it. And
What you said about flat earthers freaking out about it, I don't know how many are actually freaking out about it, but you don't mean that because they're afraid of the 24-hour sun being proven, because that's not at all the case from any respectable flat earther. They just
Right.
see it as like some kind of psyop, you know, that they don't want people to get taken by. More, that's
Right.
why they're freaking out. Right?
That's
well,
why.
here's my thing. He's a pastor, and my concern is he using church money for this?
Yeah, that's another question.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like it's very shady. It seems very shady.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and someone else mentioned the other day, like the fact that he's a pastor makes it even more sacrilege, because if there was some kind of like shady shit or somehow like whatever the footage they claim is the 24-hour sun, then it basically disproving the Bible, right? Why would they have a pastor do that instead of some kind of scientist guy? Right?
He's saying that the Bible doesn't say the Earth is flat, you know, and
Yeah, right. But
like
still.
everything, you know, like anyone that's looked into this as much as he supposedly has knows the Earth is flat at that point. But there's no way you can. Yeah, I mean, like people that think the Earth is a globe, that truly think it, haven't looked, and getting them to look, getting them to actually take the time and look at the real information, they all become flat earthers unless they're just dishonest and you know, disingenuous. So
exactly.
this guy is, you know, it's not just a feeling. This guy is disingenuous. I think that he has massive legal problems, and this is his way out. And it could be even worse than that. He could be, you know, who knows what he could be. He could be, you know, all sorts of, you know, into all sorts of crazy crap that we don't even want to discuss.
Yeah, there's some accusations that he was involved with other people that were shady. But also there was the whole thing about
I don't know
Brazil.
if any of that's true. I don't know if any of that's true.
Yeah, who cares?
But his behavior, his amount of energy that he's putting into this thing, and then like all of his videos, he does these little neurolinguistic twists and these little just these little things he leaves out. You know, that he can't roads he can't go down. It's so disingenuous. It's unreal. Like with me, he goes, you know, Flat Earth Dave said 1,000,000 times that he wants to go to Antarctica and see the 24-hour sun to prove the Earth. I never said that. I never said
everyone's
that.
being ramrodded over it. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, you want to do an experiment? Here's the experiment: 2 planes in Antarctica. Then they both take off, and one flies clockwise, one flies counterclockwise, one flies to the left or the right, follow the coast, and then they meet on the other side and go to Australia. Okay, they meet, and that would be an experiment, but that'll never be done.
Yeah, it's funny that they're even calling it an experiment when it's just an observation, which wouldn't be final in any way.
Yeah,
we should just force them to call it an observation and just say no. We can't even call it a final experiment. Let's change that before we do it, because it'll sound so stupid to call it the final observation.
The final experiment. That's neurolinguistic programming right there. It's not an experiment. It's not final, and you know, and people that are saying, you know, if we see the 24-hour sun, it doesn't prove the shape of the Earth. True, but it does destroy our flat Earth model, our circling sun model. If we're seeing the same sun, right? If it's not a reflection, or you know, who knows what we're seeing? Because the sun that we see, I don't even believe that's the real sun. I believe that's an apparent sun. I believe this. Yeah. This is my belief. The source of the sun is, as the Bible says, in the firmament, not under. When you put your milk in the refrigerator, you don't put it under the refrigerator, right? So the sun is in the firmament, and we're seeing its apparent position. Now, what happens to the optics of the sky down there? I don't know. I mean, the coffee cup optic gives us light. So it's very, very interesting.
and there does seem to be reports of 24-hour daylight because of this possible coffee cup caustic, and so just conflating it to be the sun when they already have the daylight, and he was very adamant about it being during a certain month too. I guess the whole thing about the Brazilians, there was like at the very same time there was another guy trying to convince Brazilians to do this, to participate in this final experiment, and they said, "Why don't we do it right now? Because there should be a 24-hour sun now," and then they just shut up about it, like if it had to be this certain time when everyone else is going to do it.
Well, it's interesting. Also, that date is a very occultic date. That's the date that Sandy Hook happened. I don't know what that means, but they like their
Oh yeah,
their dates. But
right.
there could be a short period of time where there is some coffee cup caustic reflection that is confusing.
Uh-huh.
He thinks the same. Seems to think there's going to be a crystal blue sky with a clear sun, but that's not going to happen. That never happens. And
Right.
when the sun is low on the horizon, far away, it's always behind clouds or thick atmosphere. So can they fake that? Fuck yeah. They could fake the fuck out of that. But, are we going to see a crisp disk sun with sunspots go around for 24 hours? 0% chance. Zero.
Yeah, that's the last one. That last Anthony Powell one. That like it's the best they got, and the sun looks so weird, and it's got this weird cloudy mist to it, without any clouds.
Yeah.
Like there should be a crisp sun with lots of rays, and that's just like it's dog shit.
That's always been one of my concerns about the North and the South. Like you can find 24-hour sun and star trails on the North all day long from hundreds of people. And then you find like 3 videos for the South, and it's like, you mean to tell me like
because there's more people in the North. There's more
I get that, but you're telling me that people in Australia don't think it's cool that there's the star trail in the South or whatever? Like, come on, man.
You're right. You're right. And then he loves bringing up, Colin O'Brady went across. If you look into any of these guys, they're all fucking liars. They're all proven wrong. Colin O'Brady's trip is the dumbest thing ever. I have a video debunking it. Just search Colin O'Brady on the app, and it's like, wow, that's proven wrong. So why are they lying about that? Why did they fake the sun? If the Earth was a globe, there would be no flat earthers.
Yeah, exactly.
There would be no flat earthers.
There's so many ways to prove it. Yeah.
If the Earth was a globe, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like just the idea, right? Like, oh, the Earth is a globe. Well, how do we know? Well, we stuck a 24-hour camera in Antarctica, and it's stupid, but you can look at it anytime that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have that already. I mean, they would, if they really wanted to get rid of flat Earth, they would have had anti-flat Earthers down there, or the government down there showing it and proving it and making sure that flat Earth is never a thing for that reason.
If Will is so sure about this thing, he should address the other things. Hey, we can see too far. These plane routes don't make any sense. He should be looking into those and explaining those away, which he can't. We've done plenty of tests with lasers and lights and frozen rivers and, all sorts of stuff, but he doesn't address that. He wants to look up at lights in the sky, which could be faked and, in my opinion, will be faked. And the thing is, if Jaron and Austin go, I think they'll